Hello everyone, it's Tommy Hensel. This is Table for One Please. I know I have been gone for a very long time. The last post was, I think, in October, but I'm back now. But I'm taking a little bit of a diversion from the cookbook challenge that I was doing before, because now in late March of 2020, like practically everyone on the planet, I am in quarantine for at least 2 weeks. Now I live alone, so that means that I've got just me and social media to connect to the world. And one of the cool things is one of my friends turned me on to a guy in Chicago who is an awesome bartender. His name is Joe Leolis. And Joe put a post out there and said, hey, if you send me a list, or better, take a photo of what you have in your liquor cabinet, then I will work with those ingredients and come up with some cool and interesting cocktail recipes that you may not have tried before. And then, if you like it, you can tip me. So I said, you know what? Great idea. So I took a picture of kind of the epic amount of stuff that I have in my home bar, because I've always subscribed to the idea that if you're going to make a cocktail, you might as well make a good cocktail. So I have a whole lot of ingredients. So Joe and I connected on Facebook. We went back and forth, and he had all the pictures of my ingredients, and he finally came up with a couple of recipes, and I'm going to make one of them for you right now. And in the video at the end, I'll give you the links to get in touch with Joe so that you can actually send your info to him and have him put a cocktail menu together for you. But what I'm going to make for you right now, and first of all, apologies to all of my mixology friends out there, because I'm sure that my technique is not going to be 5-star bartender technique, but it works for me. So here we go. This is a drink that Joe calls a piney 75. It's a riff on the famous French 75, so it will involve gin and sparkling wine and lemon juice, but there's a whole lot of different ingredients here that I think were really cool. So first of all, the ingredients, gin, and I'm using Empress 1908 gin, and as you notice, I dressed to match my gin. Empress 1908 is a gin that's made in Vancouver, Canada. It's infused with butterfly pea blossoms, so it's a great London dry style, but it's got this extraordinary color. Also, of course, sparkling wine is part of a French 75. Now, the way you can control the sweetness of your cocktail is through what sparkling wine you choose. The one that I have here is called Penelope. It's from the north coast of California. It's a Brut Blanc de Blanc. And I get it from my favorite wine club called Naked Wines. And at the end of this video, I'll put a link to Naked Wines there and also in the description of the video. I like a Brut because it's not sweet, and I don't like particularly sweet cocktails. But if you are someone who likes a sweet cocktail, go for a sweeter cava or prosecco, or maybe a sec or a demi-sec champagne or sparkling, and you'll get that little bit of a kick in the sweetness. So we have the gin, we have the sparkling wine, we have freshly squeezed lemon juice. And then the other ingredient is simple syrup. And I made this simple syrup today, but rather than using just plain simple syrup, Joe instructed me to make a simple syrup with rosemary. Now, I didn't have fresh rosemary, so the recipe he gave me was to do 1 cup of water, a half tablespoon of dried rosemary, and then a half a cup of sugar. So you make that into a simple syrup and strain it. So you've got a rosemary infused simple syrup, which is why it's called a piney 75. So I'm going to start putting this cocktail together. Now, what's interesting about Empress 1908 and the butterfly pea blossoms, it's like the magic of science. The butterfly pea blossom color will react chemically with citrus, and so it changes the pH. So you can actually make the cocktail and then pour the lemon juice in and see it happening in real time, but cocktails that involve citrus need to be shaken so the citrus can really incorporate. And I think most mixologists will agree with that. So what I'm going to do is pour the gin into a clear glass for you, and then pour the lemon juice in so that you can see it. So I think it's going to be a really interesting chemical reaction if you haven't seen it. So the recipe calls, so I'm going to use this Scotch tasting glass because, hey, I've got it. It calls for 2 ounces of gin. So I'm going to pour 2 ounces of this Empress 1908 carefully into this glass. And then it calls for a ½ ounce of lemon juice. So I'm going to put a ½ ounce of lemon juice in this. All right, so you can see this beautiful color. I'm going to put it away from my jacket so maybe you can see it against something white. Now watch what happens. Voila! We've changed the color. Ooh, the magic of science. So I'm going to pour that into my cocktail shaker. And the other ingredients is a ½ ounce of this rosemary infused simple syrup. So I'm going to spoon that into my cocktail shaker. There we go. That's exactly a ½ ounce. All right. So now we have the base ingredients. I'm going to throw in some crushed ice. I can't buy crushed ice, but I have a little manual ice crusher that I use for when I'm making really especially good cocktails. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Now, again, I'm not a professional, so I'm sure that I'm not going to shake this the way that it's supposed to be shaken, but hey, we'll do the best that we can. So give it a nice heavy shake. You can kind of hear it when there it goes, when it reaches this point where it's been shaken enough. So I'm going to kind of double strain it. So what I'm going to do is I have a chilled coupe. I'm going to strain it using like your normal cocktail strainer, but through some fine mesh because I want to get rid of the ice chips and any kind of like lemon stuff that's left. So there we go. Yep, and there are some ice chips there. And then you top it with a little bit of your Brut to make it a French, well, a piney 75. All right, and then finally, you express a lemon peel over the cocktail, and then you dress it with that lemon peel. And voila, a piney 75. Ooh, okay. So Joe did a really nice job on that one because the rosemary is just in there enough that I get that little bit of pininess. You get a little hit of gin. The lemon juice does not overpower it. And you get just a little bit of that sparkling. So I give thumbs up to the piney 75. So at the end of this video, you'll see how to get in touch with me, how to get in touch with Joe, and how to get in touch with Naked Wines. So until next time, enjoy, and this is tablefor1please.com. And enjoy your quarantine. Do something fun like this to take the time.